Hello and welcome to CIS 205, Introduction to Data Communications and Networking. This is week 3. Let's get started. What's due this week? Well, hopefully you're starting to see a pattern with the assignments for this class. Each week you will have a quiz or quizzes due. Each week you will have a discussion forum entry required, and then you may have some additional activities due as well, as is the case this week. So, what do we do this week? Well, read chapter 5, take the quiz. Read chapter 6 and take the quiz. Plus, participate in the discussion forum. I've got a link to a video about the Michigan terminal system from the 1960s that I think you'll find pretty amusing. It was state of the art at the time, and I want you to think about just how much networking has evolved since the video was made. So, to put that into context, where our technologies are now, at the time, before the Michigan terminal system and systems like it were available, if you were working with a computer, you were sitting right next to it. There was no such thing as working remotely. And so the networked system that was the Michigan terminal system was truly revolutionary for its age. So it was a significant advance. So please take a look at the video and answer the discussion forum questions accordingly. You also have to complete a workstation specification quiz, and I say quiz in air quotes. For those of you that have completed or sent me an email telling me this is what I've got on my workstation, thank you. For those of you that did not, I guess you got distracted or otherwise busy, but I need this information from you too. So what I've done is set this email up as a quiz. It is a quiz, just like all the other chapter quizzes, but so long as you answer all the questions, you will get a 100. If you do not answer the questions, or do not take the quiz, you will get a 0. So this is your opportunity to really get an easy 100 quiz grade. So please take a look at it. Please complete it. There are 8 questions. It is due on Wednesday of this week. I need time to plan and prepare for next week. So please complete the computer workstation specifications quiz by Wednesday. Also, I want you to send me a message through remind.com this week. It can be any time this week. Perhaps you want to drop by during office hours, which will be on Wednesday from 8 until 9:30. But I want to get a message from everybody in the class through remind.com. What I'd really like to have happen is for everybody to install this app on their smartphone so that as I send out updates or announcements, they go right to your phone. And that way you're getting the latest information as quickly as possible. Plus, I've got this app installed on my phone, and if you have a question for me virtually any time, overnight may not be it might not give you a quick response, but virtually any daylight hour query, I'll do my best to respond to immediately. So this is a new tool that I'm testing out for this class. This is the first one that I've used it with, and I really want to encourage you to give it a try and see if it improves the learning experience. So again, send me a message sometime this week through remind.com. The other item that's due this week is the research paper topic. You must send me a research paper proposal, and I've posted several things that I think will assist you. Okay, so the first thing is the grading rubric for research papers. You will find this posted under the handout section on Genzabar. It lays out everything, the 4 major topic areas that I will be grading your paper with. And we'll take a look at this in just a moment. But it should lay bare the secret sauce of how I'm going to evaluate your paper. So you need to know what it is going before you write the paper, or at least I feel you do. So I highly recommend that you take a look at the grading rubric and let me know if you have any questions. There's also a handout for the research paper format and topics. So some of you have already started digging through that. If you haven't, this is the week to start. So we'll take a look at that in a moment as well. I have also included 2 sample research papers. These were written by students from a previous class, and 2 sample research paper proposals, which were likewise written by students from a former class. So if you want to get a good idea of what impresses me or how you can earn a good grade, look at these sample submissions and you should get a pretty good idea. Research paper continued. So I must approve your research topic. Let me say it again. I must approve your research topic. I must approve your research topic. Hopefully that you will remember that. So please don't start writing until you and I have had a talk. Submitting your research paper proposal doesn't automatically mean that your proposal will be accepted. That's why we do this. So I'd say maybe half of the students that send me a research paper proposal end up amending it in some way after I've read it. So again, so that you don't have to rework a lot of information, wait until we have a conversation about it. Again, you must submit the research paper topic proposal. That's part of your grade with this particular assignment. And I must approve it. So if you get any questions about that, please send me an email. I've talked about this before, but it's worth mentioning again. This is a writing intensive class. This is also a sophomore level class. It's a 200 level class, which means that a number of you are really just getting started with your Wesleyan career. And perhaps you haven't been required to write an academic paper or a technical paper in quite some time, but you are now. This is a writing intensive class, and because you're relatively early on in your degree pursuit, you're likely to have to write additional papers. So I recommend that you learn these skills early and you learn them well so that you can apply them to other classes. You will have other writing intensive classes at North Carolina Wesleyan College. So this is my gift to you. Please take advantage of the 10-point bonus, the 1-letter grade bonus that you can earn by having the Writing Center read your paper and then incorporating those updates in your paper. It's very unusual that I have a student that does not benefit from the Writing Center advice. And again, writing is one of those things that some people it comes very naturally, others it's a chore, and I would say that technical writing in particular is it's difficult and it's not natural. It perhaps you find that you've got a flair for writing in English 101, English 102, or poetry or something, another humanities class. Well, this is not that. This is a technical paper, and you're dealing with scientific and or technical resources and data. So it needs to be handled in a different way. So that's why I make this offer to my students, and that's why I recommend in the strongest terms possible. I always wrestle whether or not I should make this a requirement, but so far I've resisted the urge. I like to give students the chance to put their best selves forward, and again, this is your opportunity to do that, but certainly we all are adults here. Perhaps you decide not to, but it will be at your detriment. So if you have any questions about this particular assignment, please let me know. Looking ahead to next week, week 4 already. Next week will, believe it or not, be the halfway mark in the class. We're going to be doing some labs. So the first one I want you to consider is the hands-on Wireshark packet capture lab on page 80. And that's page 80 of your textbook. Take a look at that and see if you can get comfortable with what we'll be doing. A high-level overview is that you're going to be installing next week a hypervisor, probably VMware Workstation, or better yet, Oracle VirtualBox. And inside of, let's say, Oracle VirtualBox, since that one is free, you'll be setting up a virtual machine. Let's say, for the sake of argument, Windows 7. Inside Windows 7, you're going to install Wireshark. And this would be just like you would do on your desktop or other machine. but because it's in a virtual environment, it's completely encapsulated, and you don't risk doing anything to your host system by doing this. So we'll talk more about this next week and perhaps later this week, but go ahead and take a look at the lab as it's laid out on page 80, and you'll have a good idea of where we're going. Again, office hours are Wednesdays from 8 to 9:30. That's online, and I use remind.com, and I would really like for you to drop by and let me know how the class is going, see if you have any questions, and with over half the class left at this point, we've got a lot of time left to spend together. And if there's something that you would like to see changed to make this a class a better experience for you, well, here's your opportunity to share that with me. Here is the research paper format and topics handout that I mentioned previously. And this is, again, to help you not get surprised. We'll take a look at the grading template in a moment, but this is what I'm expecting mechanically from your paper. I want 12-point font. I want it in Times New Roman, double spaced, use page numbers, use a cover sheet, etc., etc. So this shows me that you can read the requirements for an assignment and then execute them appropriately. Again, this should be pretty easy. So however, saying that, I have students every single term that miss one or more of the requirements here on this particular handout. So don't let that be you. Please review what I've requested here, and then if you have any questions, let's talk about it. You've got a lot of runway at this point, and there's lots of time to course correct or to change anything that you might be concerned about. I have a list of suggested topics here, but you can suggest any topic you like. These are just some to get you thinking about what is appropriate for this class. But if you've got something that you've come into class wanting to really learn about, this is a good opportunity to become a subject matter expert in that particular field. So happy to entertain anything. This 14-point list is by no means exhaustive. So let your creativity reign here. If you've got a work problem, for example, that you've been trying to solve, or that your boss is keenly interested in, this is a great time to impress him and to really gain some valuable skills. So I find that students that introduce or work through a work-related problem for their research paper really get excited in it because it's no longer abstract. It's something that they're actually trying to do. So again, give this some thought. These 14 suggestions here are just that. They're just 14 suggestions. And if you've got another one that you would prefer to do, then let's talk about it. And as mentioned previously, here's the extra credit. I know I mentioned this last week, and I'll probably mention this again next week. But it really, I'll be honest, it disappoints me just how that all my students don't take advantage of this. I always wrestle with this as if I should make this a requirement or not, but it is up to you. So it's an easy way to get a letter grade added to your research paper assignment, and it's really not that difficult. It just requires some good time management skills. So anyway, this is the handout research paper format and topics. It's on Genzabar, and please take a look at it if you haven't already. Now, let's take a look at the research paper rubric. So here's the research paper grade template, and this lays out the 4 major content areas that I'm going to be evaluating your research paper for. So format, content and information, quality of writing, references, and use of references. So you might notice something here. Content and information is half your grade, which, depending on the way you think about it, is a lot or a little. That means that the actual content, the data that you have researched, is only half the grade. The rest of it is built on fairly mechanical things. So, format, for example, presentation of the text, structuring of the text, following the requirements for length, font, and style. All that information is included in the guide we just reviewed. So that should be an easy 15 points. Quality of the writing? Well, here's where students do struggle a little bit sometimes. There should be a good flow to your research paper. So I'll borrow something from Public Speaking 101 that can sometimes serve this assignment well, and that is consider you are speaking live and do the following. Tell your audience, the reader, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So in that format, you keep it brief, right? Usually maybe 3 items, maybe 4, that you tell your audience that you're going to cover, so they know what to expect. And then you tell them about those 3 items that you told them that you were going to cover. So now they're getting the information that they expected. And then to summarize, you will tell them what you told them. And so that again is a pretty common public speaking technique, but seems to work well for this paper. And for the quality of writing section or particular, I think it's something that would work well. So there is expected to be a flow to your research paper, and again, this is something that the Writing Center should be able to easily help you with. So, and the final section here, references and use of references. This is about the quality of research materials, books, and or I hesitate to say magazines, but publications, periodicals by the likes of the IEEE, for example, that you drew upon to write your paper. So Time Magazine is not an acceptable resource. Wikipedia is not an acceptable resource. So if you've got questions about what will constitute appropriate resources, please let me know. Again, I recommend that you take a look at the sample research papers that have been provided and see what they've included, and hopefully that will spark you to look for some of the same types of materials. So that's it for this week. So if you have any questions, send me an email or find me on remind.com. Or you can come and join me during my office hours on Wednesdays from 8 to 9:30. Hopefully things are going well for you. I can tell that the vast majority of you are navigating the quizzes well and doing a good job with the forum. So you are 25% through at this point. Like I said, next week we hit week 4, and week 4 is the 50% mark for the class. Funny how things can fly. So I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks for your time this evening. Good night.